Watching TV has changed over time. Streaming has become the new norm. That's why Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast dives headfirst to the world of cord cutting. Want to be on the loop of what's hot in Netflix? Or if it's not a preference, what about original shows in Hulu? We've got you covered. Join us as we fill in the blanks and talk about movies to stream and what show you should be binging. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast.
Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast. I'm Shay and Jordan.
And I'm Jordan Giles.
And today we are bringing you a super special episode, Lord of the Supers. We're going to figure out which superhero show is the best show to watch for your viewing pleasure.
Viewing pleasure, yes.
But to start us off, we're going to play a game. Well, I guess not a game. We're gonna break the ice. So what is your favorite sitcom?
Oh, my favorite sitcom. Well, I'm going to have to ask that you come back to me and I'll answer the second time. Like standard procedure, I'm always like to be last for these.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not a huge fan of sitcoms.
No, that's where the problem really lies for me. I think that I normally get really sick of sitcoms.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of grew up with them. I'm a little bit tired of them, and there's not a whole lot of them that I actually really enjoy. So every once in a while you find a really good one, though. One of the ones that I actually really like, you know, I think we're both more into single camera shows.
Yeah, that's single camera. It's where it's at, kids.
But one of the ones that I really liked, and I've watched it a couple times.
I'm already getting ready to make fun of you.
Is I guess Malcolm in the Middle really isn't a sitcom, is it?
No, it's not. That's a single camera. I would have said Malcolm in the Middle if it was.
I've watched that show like 3 times, like in its entirety.
I'm going to say one that I watched growing up, okay?
Okay.
But this answer is subject to change based on what you say, and it might like trigger like a, oh yeah, that's something that I liked even then.
Okay, so you want me to go first, or did you want to say it?
I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Oh, go for it.
I don't want anyone to get in my way. That 70s Show.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
That 70s Show was something that I don't... Oh, no. See, it happened again. I will change it to something that I really enjoyed growing up. So both of these shows, both kind of... It might even be both, okay? Now, both of these shows were something that, like, every time I got home from school, me and my pops, which is my dad, we would watch these shows together, and we'd go like, ha, ha, ha. Ha ha ha. Very funny stuff. So, if it wouldn't be That 70s Show, it would definitely be Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World. I know. I've never actually seen a whole lot of that show, to be perfectly honest.
Really?
I've heard it's really good. I just haven't really watched any of it.
Well, I don't know, because I feel like it's good for if you watched it at the time whenever you would like that kind of thing, right? Like,
right.
You might just have grown up too cynical now to enjoy a sitcom. Like, I think that's the problem. People are like, laugh track, dumb joke. You can't laugh that hard at a joke that wasn't that funny. I don't like this show anymore. You know what I mean? Well, there's tons of problems with it, but I think out of the many, I think people don't like the laugh track. I think they don't like the corniness. There's things not to like about a sitcom.
Right.
But before you realized that TV could be bad when you were a kid, you would have shows like Boy Meets World. And that was like the bee's knees. That was the cat's pajamas.
Right. Yeah, no, tell me a little bit about Boy Meets World. What makes it so special for you?
Oh, man, I guess just growing up, and I guess the characters grew up with me, right? There was Corey, Topanga, Sean, Eric. That's all of them, really. I mean, that's the main dudes. So, I mean, and as the show kind of evolved, I think it got funnier as time went on.
Right.
And any time when you can say, wow, this show is funnier now, because some of the characters grew into their own. Eric, Corey's brother, went from being yeah, little bro, don't worry, to just being flat out insane and also just being an idiot. So before he was just like kind of dumb, but didn't have much of a character. They started giving him more screen time, and he started proving to be crazy. You know what I mean? And that was one of those things, like, as you grew up and as the show grew up, you felt like it was only getting better. And it made you think, maybe things do get better as they get older. Maybe I'll be better as I'm getting older. Boy Meets World.
Interesting. What? I was going to say, Freaks and Geeks is a one-camera show, too. Huh?
Yeah.
Darn it.
We're looking for a multi-camera show.
Yeah. I'm thinking How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother. Oh, man, that's a show that I also enjoyed.
I actually liked it throughout the whole thing. I think the main character does a really good job being the everyman, you know? I feel like anybody can relate to him. Of course, you've got NPH doing his thing. Always great to watch. And then
good old Neil Pat.
You know, and then that other couple, Lily and Marshall. They're hilarious as well. I love their shenanigans. It's really funny, too, because while I was watching the show, I had some friends that really hated Lily. I don't know why. I always thought Lily was kind of cute, even though she kind of does some not so good things to Marshall.
I felt like their relationship was like the goals, right?
Yeah, like I felt
Didn't
like they were
everybody
the
want
one
to be Marshall and Lily?
I think so. That's how I felt about it, but I know some people really didn't like Lily. I know some people were really disappointed with the ending, but I think the ending ended in a way to where I was very content with it.
I mean, it wasn't Breaking Bad, but it was still like, it was nice. It was, the entirety of the show was something better than you would have expected.
Right. Well, everybody gets mad, and if you haven't seen it but yet, I'm sorry. Like, you've kind of missed your window of opportunity.
The dog dies at the end. Yeah, spoilers are coming out.
Yeah, the girl that he meets and ends up, their mother ends up being dead. Like, she dies of a disease, and so he goes to Robin in the very, very end of the show, and the whole show wasn't even about their mother. It was about Robin.
Yeah, so mother didn't really matter. We thought, oh, hey, there's mom, but no, it ended very somber and kind of sad, bittersweet kind of situation going on. But
right.
I did enjoy it. I enjoyed
liked it too. And, you know, I think the thing is if it was supposed to be a show about How I Met Your Mother and it wasn't about Robin, then it would have just started at that wedding, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's where they could have started it, and then we would have had a 4-episode show. That would be kind of lame.
Okay, can I ask you, what do you think would be the biggest thing for you, which was what was your first multi-camera comedy? That's what I'm trying to get at. What was
my first multi-camera comedy?
Yeah, what was your first sitcom?
Oh, boy.
Mine was Boy Meets World, and then That 70s Show.
My parents really didn't like sitcoms that much. I think the one that I remember seeing a lot when I was growing up, of course, there was Full House that came on every once in a while. Family Matters came on every once in a while. But I think the first one that I really watched was Three is Company because it came on TV Land and my parents loved it.
I never watched Three's Company. That was something that whenever my parents started watching it, I would leave to go watch cartoons. And by the time, I think we found a common ground, like with Boy Meets World and then That 70s Show.
And the Andy Griffith Show really isn't a sitcom, so otherwise I would have said the Andy Griffith Show. But Three is Company, I remember liking it because I like Don Knotts from the Andy Griffith Show. I think Don Knotts is hilarious, and so that's, I think, why I watched it with my parents. Even though that shows some really dirty themes, I'm surprised they let me watch it. That and Sanford and Son, like there are a lot of like 70s
I love Sanford
show.
and Son. I think, but I liked those shows later on as time went on. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I just kind of watched whatever my parents watched. The only thing I really thought was boring that they watched was MASH, and up until I like grew up a little bit.
I had a friend of mine who his mom, they're a very religious background, right?
Yeah.
And his mom was they were moving into a bigger house, and she was carrying a TV in. And she dropped the TV and she broke. And she took that as a sign that they don't need cable in their house because TV's evil. So,
really?
Yeah. So, but in that situation, they ended up buying so many DVDs. And they stopped caring what DVDs the kids bought as long as, you know, they're just watching something. It was very purpose defeating, you know? Like, so
right.
They were still getting to watch anything they wanted. But he liked a lot of those older shows like Brady Bunch. He could tell you every situation that happened in Brady Bunch because at a time before they stopped caring about, like, yeah, just get whatever as long as it's a good price, you know? He would watch the oldest shows. He would watch MASH, the Brady Bunch, and he's kind of like, for his age, he's like, wow, you know a lot about old cheesy TV shows.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's really interesting you bring that up because when I was a kid, my parents didn't get cable because it was too expensive. Like, it was too expensive. There was never anything on. My dad didn't care about football anymore.
It's time we cut the cables.
So, like, when I was, like, in 3rd or 4th grade, we would just go and we would rent a bunch of VHSs, and then once DVDs became a thing, we rented a bunch of DVDs all the time. So I remember my dad getting really mad because they would keep the DVDs in like a file system, like literally files in a file cabinet. So they're in paper, and paper scratches discs. And I remember him just being really mad and never coming back to that store because they kept getting scratched discs. And man, one of the cool things was we just rent a bunch of movies on the weekends and then watch whatever we had laying around the house during the week. So we did a lot of like playing, and we did a lot of video games when I was growing up. And we didn't get cable again until I was like in 5th or 6th grade.
Really?
Maybe even 7th.
That's insane to me because I grew up with cable. I grew up
well,
with
well, it was like from 4th grade to like 6th grade, I think.
I have great parents, but I think cable, like TV, was like my third parent in a lot of ways, because
I think TV works as a parent for a lot of people. There's a quote from Fight Club about like sitting kids down and having the TV. We're the generation that the TV raises, and I know one of the things my dad would do is we'd watch something on TV, and if he saw a character doing something that was like questionable or something, he'd be like, "Never do that, or I'll beat you up," or "If you ever grab a woman like that, I will end you."
I would love to like have a sit down special on the television podcast about things Shay's dad has said.
I got raised about like how to treat women well and how to be a good person by my dad pointing at the TV being like,
don't do that.
Be more like that. Be
that.
less like that. I have a couple sad stories about that too that I'll maybe share in a different time. But right now we are coming up on a break. When we get back, we're going to talk to you guys about some superhero shows, what to watch, what not to watch, and then we've got a special treat for the third act. So please stick around.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch, whatever it may be.
Welcome back to GSMC Television Podcast. Your host, Jordan Giles.
Shay Northrop.
And Shay Northrop. So, guys, I'm glad that you kept tuning in because that means that we're going to get into the real juicy beef stew of it all.
The nitty-gritty.
The nits and the grits. We're going to be talking about the superest of the superhero shows that are out now. We're talking Jessica Jones, Marvel's Daredevil. We have DC's Gotham, and so much more, right?
So let's kind of start it off. Like, I guess what we're going to kind of do is we're going to break this down into what's the best show that you guys should probably be checking in on a regular basis, and which universe is better. What's doing a better job on television, Marvel or DC? I guess.
Okay. Spoiler alert. I'm going to go ahead and say.
Oh yeah, spoilers up the wazoo. Up in here.
I'm already feeling Marvel, but let's see. The fun part of this is seeing if Shay can change my mind magically with something.
I don't know about that. So I checked out for the first time ever Supergirl.
There we go. I was there.
Let's start with Supergirl.
All right, let's start with Supergirl. Let's ask some basic questions. Did you like what you saw?
No.
Did you enjoy it ironically?
Kind of.
Would you watch it again?
Yes.
Okay, so see, that last question really does open up a lot of doors for us, Shay. Tell me what you didn't like about it and what you did in the fact that you would watch it again.
All right, so we've talked a little bit, at one particular episode, we talked a little bit about The Good Place, and my problem with this show is the same thing I have with The Good Place. It's very clean-cut, Miss Prissy perfect world. It's the problem I have with Superman. I don't really like Superman that much. I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm some sort of like heinous sinner for saying that, but I do not like Superman. I feel like he's a little too perfect. I feel like he's a Boy Scout, and I feel like on his own home planet he wouldn't be anything special. It's really easy for God to talk about what's right and wrong.
That's what I hate about
It's really easy
Super.
for God to say, oh, you need to be brave and courageous like me. It's really, it doesn't work. I don't admire that.
Yeah, no, let's just be like... I actually root for the villains when it comes to Superman. Now,
Yeah,
Batman
me
has
too.
more interesting villains. It's just that, God, I get so sick of He's just perfect. I don't like perfection. That's not human. I can't relate to him as a person.
Now, one of the
Nothing
things that
goes
I really
wrong.
didn't like about Supergirl in particular is she's apparently I guess, a PA for the leader of this newspaper. And, like, she's sitting there complaining about life and everything. And I'm like, it looks like you have it pretty good. Like, she lives in a really, really, really nice apartment.
She lives in... You cannot be a personal assistant and live in that kind of apartment that looks like a penthouse suite in New York.
Yeah, no, it was crazy.
On top of that, the fact
she
that...
dresses... Well, it's funny.
It's the Friends dilemma.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, like, she, like, her boss is like, oh, you've got such cheap pants. This girl dresses like a supermodel. Like, she's dressed in the nicest clothes. Everything is pristine and perfect. So your basic CW show. So there's no knit. There's no grit. I kind of like my superheroes to have a little bit of grit. But I have to say, like, there are some things I find ironically funny. Like, the first episode, there was, like, this, I guess, nuclear axe that this guy was trying to kill her with. And she goes to, like, blow it up with her laser vision. And, like, the explosion is, like, less than the size of a hand grenade. So much for a nuclear-powered axe.
I also have to mention that, like, the stage combat is kind of bad in this show as well. It's very cheesy. I'm not buying it. It's very... We can do a lot better today, I think.
Well, I think that's also something that you have to add a disclaimer to. With the CW, you're going to have kind of lower budgets than the Marvel shows on Netflix. So
That's very true.
you have to come into it understanding things are going to be a bit campier. I mean, you're going to see that with the Flash, and we're
man.
going to talk about it.
One of the things that I really hated is all the shots of her flying around. There's all this dust and, like, water all over the lens.
That's you being like a perfectionist when it
I
comes
know,
to the
but
camera work.
It's really annoying.
The thing
Like,
I
clean
didn't
your
like is
lens.
why is she acting so... They make her seem so, like, not ditzy. It's not that.
No, that's not at all.
No, they're not. They're just... I feel like they're giving her this kind of superficial, like, oh, I don't know what to do here, ha. But every other superhero that we've seen in these shows, it seems like they have so much more confidence with what they're dealing with, you know?
She does this whole kind of thing that I'm not buying, like this whole awkward thing
The
going
awkward
on.
thing where she's
Like,
being
she's
like...
just, like, throwing up her hands, like, I don't know. And I'm like,
that's the thing. It's not... I'm sorry, it's not ditz, whatever. I'm saying it's kind of this... She has this awkward, like, oh, I don't know how to handle it. I'm a superhero, this, that. You don't see that with a lot of other heroes, and I don't know if they're trying to represent
It doesn't really work with
something.
her because she's supposed to be perfect, and
She's
she
the
acts
most perfect of all of them.
And
give that to the Flash. Give that to the guy who shoots arrows.
I'm just not buying. I've never met anybody that acts like she does. Like, nobody acts like this. Oh, I'm so quirky, unless they're trying to, unless they're trying to go for that. Like, unless that's like something they're trying to get people to be like, oh, she's quirky.
Yeah.
Like, it feels forced. Forced. That's the word I'm looking for.
Forced. Let's change everything we've just said and end it on forced. It feels forced from being somebody who has to balance being perfect with not feeling perfect.
Now, we kind of talked a little bit about how we feel like it's just, like, almost ridiculous to watch a show about somebody who's basically God.
Don't like it, no.
But you know where it works?
Where?
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage is that definitely that scans just well for me. And you know, in every show where you've got a god force like Luke Cage or Superman or Supergirl, there's always that one weapon. There's always that one, and you'll see it very soon. Somebody has that kryptonite, right?
Right. But I think the thing with Luke Cage is you're not really so much worried about what happens to him, and he's not really so worried about what happens to him. You're more worried about the neighborhood. You're more worried about mom and pop kettle who are sitting in their store. Are they going to die because of something Luke Cage did? It's kind of one of those situations where you don't care about Luke Cage. Like, you care about him, but you're more focused on, okay, so what's going to happen to these other people?
But the difference between, like, I'm sure if Netflix tackled Supergirl, we'd have a lot like that as well. I mean, you're also talking about the difference in the channel, you know, what's creating. It's like ABC versus AMC. there's going to be a lot of difference in style.
I guess, but I think even if
dark and gritty,
Netflix did pick up Supergirl, I don't think that it would be something I'd probably enjoy just because of who the character is.
By the way, Netflix is Supergirl is available to watch on Netflix along with.
Oh yeah, you can watch Supergirl on Netflix.
All of the
now,
shows.
what do you think of the Green Arrow and the Flash?
Oh man, well, first of all, let me just say, like Luke Cage, I feel like if Supergirl was to take, a chapter from Luke Cage's book or any of these, invincible superheroes, make it where you don't care what happens to them. I mean, you do, but make it about the people around you. Build up the support characters.
Yeah, the supporting cast needs to be. One of the things I have to say about Arrow, I'm not a huge fan of the show. I think the combat is a little bit like the choreography isn't great, but I will say that it kind of started this whole superhero TV show craze.
And that was cool, but
it was cool when it first came out. I don't think it's been able to maintain that as well, but I think it started off on a good note.
I really don't like the Arrow. I'm going to say that's actually my least favorite. Let's go through the questions. First of all, Supergirl, it seems it's not great, but it's still something I would watch. It's something
if somebody put it on, I wouldn't be opposed
to make fun
to
of it. At least Arrow is not something I wouldn't watch in any circumstance. It feels like it's going for dark, like towards like a Netflix show, but it still has a lot of that CW show where it seems stuck between two worlds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. I have to say that I actually don't like The Flash at all.
Oh, no.
Like, I've watched a couple episodes. I've watched more than one episode of this thing, and all they ever do is stand around and talk.
Oh, that's not true.
That's all I've seen. Every single episode I've seen has just been either him moving around and doing stuff or them standing around and talking, or that episode that I watched last night where, like, they're putting on this show to hoax out this bad guy, and, I don't know. I just was not having it.
I think you just need to see another season of the Flash.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna get like this.
If you just watch 23 more episodes,
I feel
you're
like
really gonna like.
I feel like you and me are kind of like on the same page, like with that, because you're trying to tell me this, and I'm trying to tell you the same exact thing with Z Nation.
If you just power through a couple days worth of television,
oh my god,
you'll really start
to enjoy. If you just watch the whole thing, by the end of it, you'll just love it. I promise.
I guess that's the problem. Yeah, well. I can't sell you The Flash if I can't sell you a show on one episode or two episodes, then I guess I can't sell you a show. And while there's a lot of fun memories that I can think, because I've been following the show since season 1.
Speaking of CW, I can't stand Gotham either.
Oh no! See, actually, Gotham is on Fox.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Gotham is a Fox show.
Oh, I don't like it. I like the lighting.
I like Gotham. There's actually like I think out of all of the, besides the Netflix shows, of course, you've got Jessica Jones and you've got Luke Cage, which are my favorites. Daredevil, I'm kind of iffy on, if we're being honest.
Actually, I like Daredevil more than all of them, but then again, like, the thing with Daredevil is it's had 2 really good seasons, and these other shows have had, like, 1. The CW shows have a million seasons, but, like, Daredevil has 2 seasons above... so there's 1 extra season above Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. Who knows? Jessica Jones and Luke Cage could blow Daredevil out of the water with the next season. I like that the Daredevil brought in the Punisher, though, and the Punisher is like my favorite Marvel character. So
you're going to be excited to see the Defenders.
I can't wait, because the Punisher's getting his own show, too.
Yeah. What are you most excited about? The Defenders or the Punisher?
The Punisher.
By far?
Oh, yeah. I liked most of the movies. I liked the one from the 80s, and I liked the 2005 one. The 2008 one really didn't do it for me, but I like Daredevil.
I think that you should really check out Gotham. I think that I can show...
I've
Gotham, I think, is different than Flash, because I feel like I can show you an episode and you'd go, this seems interesting. I'd like to see where it goes.
I didn't like what they did with Catwoman. I didn't like what they did with the Penguin. I didn't like what they did with any of the characters. I didn't like what they did with Gordon. Like, I did not like Gordon at all. I don't know. I really like watching the little bits of the show that I saw. Like, I watched the first episode and I turned it off almost halfway through because I just couldn't take it. If I have to turn off the show because I can't take it, it's not worth watching for me. I'm sorry. It was like haters back off for me.
Is that something that happens a lot?
No, not very often. I can sit through entire episodes usually without a problem. I sat through all of Supergirl.
Yeah, that's true. We did sit through, but I feel like you secretly enjoyed it despite your complaints.
I do kind of have a little bit of an enjoyment for it, to be perfectly honest. One of the things about Supergirl, like, and I'm gonna like go versus Jessica Jones here. Supergirl has some very faint feminist kind of ideals in it, whereas Jessica Jones is a little bit more heavy-handed on it, and I kind of appreciate Jessica Jones a little bit more about that, because I feel like Supergirl kind of does this whole like kid on the playground, like little kid on the playground feminism, like, hey, girls are equal to boys, which is great. But Jessica Jones really dives into it with like rape culture. They really get into the PTSD and all of the stuff that goes hand in hand, and it's a lot more adult. And I kind of appreciate that about Jessica Jones as opposed to Supergirl.
I can see that. But I think Jessica Jones just handles everything. I think Jessica Jones just handles things well. I think they have the ability to make things seem dark and gritty, and you're rooting for all the characters. I'm not somebody that really rooted for David Tennant, but I knew a lot of people that were like, "Don't kill this evil villain that was terrible." And it's really powerful that you can make a character so likable.
That's
or maybe
really
it's just
interesting
David
you said
Tennant
that, because
so
like
likable.
I watched that and I'm like, kill him.
Well, yeah, he was the most. I think he was the most despicable villain.
He's the worst villain I've seen in Marvel. Like, I actually liked who was it? The Kingpin.
Yeah,
it was the first time. If you ever read the comic books or knew anything about Kingpin, you always want Kingpin dead. In Daredevil, I wasn't on his side, but I felt bad for him, and it's the first time I've ever felt bad about that villain. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, Marvel kind of has a little bit over DC, but DC's definitely keeping it family friendly, which I think is interesting. I feel like they kind of flip things, because in the movies, the Marvel series is a lot more family friendly and kid oriented, and then the DC movies are not. But then on the TV shows, the DC shows are super family friendly, and the Marvel shows are dark and gritty. I think it's an interesting kind of thing.
I agree with you. I do. I think that that it comes really from the networks that create things, though. I think if we saw Gotham made through Netflix, if we saw, or even HBO, which, by the way,
HBO,
we saw. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. I'm over it. If we saw, like, I'd love to see a superhero movie on HBO. I mean, a superhero show. I think they do that really well. I mean, after we've seen Westworld.
I think it comes down to the characters in the comic books themselves, too, because a lot of these things draw from the source material. And so, I don't know. Of all of the shows, which one's your favorite?
Okay, can we just do a different category for the network shows and for the Netflix shows?
Sure, and then we can say which one we think is the best overall. I think that they should all be rated on an equal playing field.
I agree. I agree with that. We can do both, but I feel like it's clearly, Netflix is going to win because they have more ability, they have more budget.
Of the Marvel shows, I like Daredevil the best. Of the superhero shows, surprisingly, I like Supergirl the best.
I like The Flash the best of the, superhero CW shows, as far as that. And I think I would definitely like to see, I'm going to say Luke Cage. Luke Cage would be my favorite out of the Marvel shows on
I'm
Netflix.
kind of tied with Luke Cage and Daredevil. As of now, Daredevil, but who knows where Luke Cage is going to go. Luke Cage kind of had it won me over faster than Daredevil did. Daredevil took a couple episodes. Luke Cage had me from episode 1. So we'll see. It could change. Overall, I think I like Daredevil the best, but that could change. I don't know. Now to come to think of it, Supergirl's not as bad as I thought it was.
Really?
Yeah.
I disagree with you. Wait, no, I don't disagree with you. I
was expecting it to be a lot worse.
I kind of feel like it's going to be garbage that I'm going to like to enjoy. I'm going to enjoy watching, Like, I know it's bad, but it's kind of like an old, movie that just hasn't stand the test of time.
Like Supergirl's kind of a cutie, too, so I guess that's a plus. On that note, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to play a game.
Ooh, games.
So much fun. All right, stick around.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast. This is episode 32, and I am Shay Northrup.
I am Jordan Giles.
And this is the Lord of the Supers episode. So, we're going to play a little bit of a game. And what we're going to do is we have picked out 2 shows apiece. And what we're going to do is we're going to read the synopsis of the show. And these have to be shows that are either currently in syndication or they are well-liked enough to where just about everybody knows about them. So that way it's not too hard. Like, I couldn't use, what is it, like...
the show Forever that was canceled after 1 season.
All right, or I couldn't be using the Caveman show, you know? Like,
yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to read the synopsis without names and without the name of the show, and hopefully we'll be able to get them. We can give each other hints, too, which might help.
I'm going to give some that could be ridiculously easy or could just go right over the head.
All right, let's play.
All right.
You want to start?
Yeah, I will. Okay, so this one takes place in a grassy floral landscape. It's populated by rabbits and birds, and you can hear them audible in the background. There's a main shelter where the 4 people live in an earth house, and it's implanted in the ground and accessed through a hole at the top. The creatures, the people that live there, they coexist with a number of strange contraptions, and they... And the show has a colorful psychedelic kind of setting. Jump in when you think you know it right now, okay?
Oh, man. What network is this on?
This is going to be on... this is Nick Jr.
Nick Jr. Is this Teletubbies?
This is Teletubbies. I feel like I should have given that. They gave it away.
Kind of a little bit. I was at first going to guess Adventure Time.
Oh, no. Yeah, I can see that. I was trying to be as vague as possible until I finally got to television screens on this topic.
Oh, yeah, that kind of...
antennas on the head. Okay, do you got one for me?
I got a pretty good one. So, this television drama is about 2 brothers who were raised by their father.
Supernatural.
Yep. Just 2 brothers and you knew.
Is there any other show with 2 brothers in it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there are. Okay, go.
Okay, I've got another one that I'm going to pull up as we do this because I just thought of it and you're going to go.
I thought of another good one too, but you go ahead.
Okay. So here comes one where the premise is okay, so it's about a ensemble of characters that are all together, and they are sharing about their adventures in a college, and it makes use of heavy meta humor and pop culture references, and it parodies a lot of films.
So they're in college.
It starts off with a guy who is suspended from his law firm when it's discovered that he lied about possessing a bachelor's degree from Columbia University. It turned out that he got one from Columbia, the country.
Oh.
So it leaves him with no choice but to enroll in a college to earn a legitimate degree. He quickly becomes attracted to this activist classmate and pretends to run a study group in order to spend time with her. However, things don't go as planned, and they start gathering up a group of people as their study group. It takes place in Greendale Community College.
I don't know what the show even is.
I feel like this is a bad game because it's going to reveal the things we don't know about TV.
What show is this?
Joel McHale.
Joel McHale.
This isn't. God, what's the name of that show? Degrassi, is it?
No, it's not Degrassi. Joel McHale was never in Degrassi.
That was a joke.
Okay. God, I feel like I'm just gonna have to give away like everything. Jim Rash was in it at some point.
Okay.
It was very famous for having Chevy Chase in it.
This is an old show.
No, Danny Pudi. Jillian Jacobs.
I think you showed me this show before. I just
Allison
don't remember
Brie.
the name of the I don't know the title of it.
Dan Harmon from Rick and Morty created it.
It's not Rick and Morty.
Community. It's Community.
Yeah, I know. You showed me that show before. I've never actually watched like a full episode of that.
Oh, man. It's...
All right, let's see if you can get this one. An American animated television series about two twins that go to a fictional town in Oregon to spend an...
Gravity Falls.
My God, you suck. All I said was twins and spend the summer in Oregon.
Gravity Falls. I had you you had me at twins. I knew what it was going to be.
Jesus Christ. I need to get ones that don't have siblings. Here, I got one that doesn't have siblings. You ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Following the death of his wife and unborn child, this gentleman moves to California where he starts at the LAPD, where he is paired up with a partner and they solve crimes.
Oh, God, yes. I keep wanting to say Lethal Weapon.
Good golly gosh, you got it.
Nice editing. Couldn't tell anything bad was there. How about we make the show where you name things and then I just tell you what the show is?
I'm gonna find one. You give me your next one. I'm gonna Google another show that you're not gonna get.
Originally set in an apartment building in New York City, it centers on this girl and her husband, who's a singer band leader, and along with their best friends and landlords, and the wacky adventures she gets into because she's kind of a bit of a klutz. It's an older show. Some would even say black and white.
It's not I Love Lucy, is it?
It is I Love Lucy.
Okay.
But I feel like you only got that because I also told you at one point I was thinking about doing I Love Lucy. So I feel like that shouldn't count. But.
Okay, but I've got one for you. So I got one, and I'm going to read it word for word from Wikipedia. All right.
Okay. Can I do one really quick before we jump into it?
Fine.
Go.
Go.
Okay, so a man is a desperate man in a desperate situation. I'm also reading from the show description. His blah, blah, blah was convicted of a crime he didn't commit and put it alongside his brother in a penitentiary. He then sets in motion...
Prison Break?
Prison Break. There we go. See, you're not bad at this either.
I think I am bad at this. Okay. So here's one. Two dysfunctional friends share their lives while trying to adjust to the professional...
Peep
Show. How are you getting this? Like, that is the vaguest sentence ever.
Dysfunctional friends.
Yeah, that could have been The Odd Couple.
Well, it wasn't. Was it Peep Show?
It could have been Fight Club.
Was it Peep Show?
It was Peep Show. Okay, one more, and then I'm gonna stump you. One sec, I just type it in my little typey.
Type it in your typey. Is it recording right now?
Yeah, I know we're recording.
Okay, just making sure.
I don't like losing.
I threw you easy when I threw you Prison Break. I don't.
Yeah, I know you did throw me a couple easy ones. Oh man, this is gonna be too easy. Hold on. Okay, so I've got this one. A fantastic melody of sweet and mischievous. It is a weekly variety show with a range of famous guests, and they do skits.
Saturday Night Live.
No.
Oh my God. Wait. Is this an American show?
It is an American show. It is live action.
And it's not Saturday Night Live.
Not Saturday Night Live.
Is it Friday Night Lights?
No. It's a bit of an old show. It started in the,
is it still happening?
No.
Oh, well, that changes
it's
things.
Famous enough. It started in the mid 70s.
Is it Friday Night Live? Fridays?
No. There's a couple movies based around it.
Oh my. Is it the Brady Bunch Variety Hour?
No. They brought it back recently only to have it be canceled again.
Oh my God, I hate you so much right now.
If I really gave away like too much more, it would give away everything. There were 5 seasons. There's 120 episodes.
I feel like you're like giving me the most like obtuse information.
There was a show in the 60s for kids that kind of got it going.
I'm stumped.
Let me read some of the cast to you. Let me see. We've got. It takes place in a big theater. I don't know if that helps. The networks were CBS, ITV, Associated Television. Some of the people that were on the show: David Gauliz.
I don't know
Frank
what the show
Oz,
is. There's a good chance I haven't even heard of the show.
Jim Henson.
Oh, the Muppets.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Muppets.
It's the Muppets. I think you said you had one more, and then I guess we'll call this show to a close. I don't know. Do you guys like this kind of thing? Do you guys enjoy the game show type thing that we're doing on here? I think it's kind of interesting.
I feel like it's like who can what can stump me, and you successfully have been stumped. You really made it sound like it was going to be an SNL thing. What if I did throw out immediately and just said Muppets?
I had to just we just ended the show.
All right, okay. Well, I guess that's enough time. I mean, we've been here for a record time, I think.
This is probably longer than any other TV podcast we've done. Now you said you had one more.
I was. It's cheating though. I was all right. I was going to do Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah. I think I would have gotten that one.
You would have gotten that one.
And on that note, we are going to cut it to a close, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast. Where can they find us, Jordan?
On GSMCpodcast.com. Also follow us on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher. Is there anything else?
Golden State Media Concepts Podcast.com. Look for television. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Please let us know what you think of the show.
Yeah, rate, review, subscribe. It really helps us out. It puts food on our families' tables.
Muchillans love their foods. And on that note, stay saucy, guys.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.